Now, let's introduce an insurance contract to the model, right? I've been hinting at this. So, what does an insurance contract look like, right? So, basic insurance contract. So, the individual pays, so pay upfront cost R, regardless of whether individual is healthy or sick. And let's say gets healthy or sick. Gets healthy or sick. This R is called the insurance premium. Right? That's the definition, so I'll circle it here just to make it clearer on the page. If the individual becomes ill, you receive Q. You receive a payout Q. Q. If stay, if stay healthy, if you stay healthy, receive nothing. And note that you never get R back in either case. Though Q, it may be, in fact, it will probably be, almost certainly be, if you're going to accept the contract, that Q greater than R. Right? So R is gone. Right? You spend R, right? And that's gone. Right? That's the price you pay for the contract. You're going to receive Q, which will almost certainly be greater than R if you are sick, and you receive nothing if you stay healthy, right? So let's define I prime S, and that's income in sick state when insured, and I prime H to be income in healthy state. If insured. And we'll keep IS and IH without primes, right? So just IS and IH. Those will still be my income when I am if I'm uninsured, right? So then what's my income if I'm healthy, right? So healthy, I prime H is equal to IH minus R, and sick, I prime S is equal to IS minus R plus Q, right? And so, what would an ideal insurance contract be? Well, ideally, the individual would want if an individual is risk averse, right? They want the same income in every state, right? So the perfect insurance contract, right? So perfect contract has EIP, right? The expected value of my income is equal to I prime H is equal to I prime S, right? That would be my ideal insurance contract, right? And so that is called actuarially fair insurance, right? And I'll give a formal definition of that in a second. But this is the perfect contract, right? The individual wants the same income whether or not she's healthy or sick, right? So let's consider the following insurance contract, right? So insurance contract X. By the way, it's such a shame that X now refers to Twitter because X is such a useful variable, and I don't want anybody thinking when I use X, I'm actually referring to Twitter in this course. So if you see an X in this course, it means the letter X, the variable X. It has nothing to do with Twitter. Let's look over the insurance contract X, and the insurance contract has it's going to have premium R, and payout Q, and Q is going to equal IH minus IS, right? So what does that mean, right? So and we want to say, right, so let's assume that the premium is set so that the contract is fair, right? So on average, that means that nobody's making any money off of this, right? And if the contract is fair, right, we have the premium is equal to the probability I get sick times the payout, right? So fair contract. Right? So it's a fair bet, right? And then let me just make that Q a little prettier. Just for the record, I'll determine this in a bit, but this is a full contract, right? So I'm a full contract means my income is the same in either state, whether I get sick or not. And fair contract means on average, neither me nor the insurance company makes any money. So what happens in the healthy state? That's not how you spell healthy. Healthy state. Right? Well, let's see. My income in the healthy state is equal to IH minus R. I prime H minus R. And that's equal to IH minus PQ equal to IH minus P IH minus IS, right? That's what Q was, which is equal to, if we do some algebra, this is equal to PIS plus 1 minus P IH, which is equal to the expected value of my income overall, right? And then what about the sick state, right? So in the sick state, what does my income look like? If I buy this contract, if I buy contract X, we have I prime S equals IS minus R plus Q That's equal to IS minus PQ plus Q. It's equal to IS minus P IH minus IS plus IH, right? We're substituting in for Q here. IH minus IS. All right. Minus IS, which is equal to PIS plus 1 minus PIH, which is also equal to the expected value of my income. Right? So, that is I'm going to just redo the second half of that. Okay. I T. Right? Okay. Which is also equal to my expected value of my income overall, right? So this is a contract, right? If I set the contract with this premium, this payout, right? So I set my premium to be fair, so nobody makes any money in any case, and my payout is full, so that I earn the same amount of money in each, whether it's fair or not. So it's a full contract, so I earn the same amount of money whether I am sick or healthy, right? I set the payout to be equal to the difference in the sick and healthy states. Turns out that that's a contract. That's the ideal contract, right? That's the perfect contract where my expected value is equal to my insured income in the healthy state, which is equal to my insured income in the sick state, right? So that's ideal, right? So what about fair and unfair, right? So there are two sort of definitions of fairness in insurance, right? There's one definition of fairness and one definition of fullness, right? So there's a fair contract and there's a complete contract, and you can have contracts that are unfair but complete, and you can have contracts that are complete but unfair, and it's not clear which is better than the other, and I'll show that in a moment. But let's do some definitions up front. So an actuarially fair insurance contract is an insurance contract that yields zero profit in expectation. So this is also called fair insurance. It's also called fair insurance, right? There we go. No, sorry, I keep screwing up these parentheses. All right, so this is also called fair insurance, right? So we can write this as the expected value of the profit. Pi is profit here. QR. Right, so the profit of an insurance contract is equal to the is a function of the probability that an event occurs, the buyout, and the premium. That implies that R equals PQ. Note that pi PQR R is profit. insurance contract with expected profit from an insurance contract with payout Q premium R covering an event with prob P of occurring. And so this also gives us a definition of unfair insurance, which is that is a contract that's an insurance contract that yields positive profits. So that's a contract that yields positive profits and expectations. So that means that the contract is unfair if the expected value of the profits there should be an equal 0 there. This should be greater than 0. Implies that R is greater than PQ. And just to clarify, the profits are the profits of the insurance company here. So if the insurance company is making money off the contract, we call on average, right? If in expectation, the insurance money makes money off the contract, we assume that we say this is an unfair contract, and that means that the premium must be greater than the payoff times the probability I get the payoff, right? So next up, the other notion of sort of perfectness of a contract, right? So one is whether it's fair or unfair, right? I would prefer, if I'm being insured, I prefer a fair contract to an unfair contract. The other thing is if I'm being insured and I'm risk averse, I prefer a full contract to a partial contract. So a full insurance contract is insurance contract where your income in all states is the same. So that means that my insured income when I'm sick is equal to my insured income when I'm healthy. And then a partial insurance contract A partial insurance contract is an insurance contract where my income in different states is different. which in terms of the very simple insurance contract we described earlier means that my income in the sick state is going to be less than my income in the healthy state. I suppose you could also have a contract where your income in the healthy state is less than your income in the sick state, but that would be really weird, and we're not going to think about that right now. Though, actually, we will think about that later. But for now, we're not going to think about that, right? So if in a partial insurance contract, right, I get some income from the insurance company, but not enough to fully compensate me for being sick when I'm sick, right? So again, right, when I get sick, the insurance company pays me some money, but not enough that I'm like, woohoo, I'm indifferent between being sick and being healthy, right? So full insurance, right? So in full insurance, right, how do we have the premium for full insurance? So for full insurance, right, we have I prime S is equal to I prime H, which means IS minus R plus Q is equal to IH minus R. It's a bad H. Work with me here, computer. You can do it. I prime H, which means that, doing some more algebra, right, the R's cancel. IS plus Q is equal to IH, which in turn implies that Q is equal to IH minus IS. Then we have partial insurance. All right, so under our partial insurance, we have that I prime S is less than I prime H. So that means that IS minus R plus Q, right, which is again equal to I prime S, is less than IH minus R, right? Again, the R's are going to cancel. So this means that IS plus Q is less than IH. And then that leaves us with Q. Let me do a nicer Q. Q is, I don't know if that's nicer, but it might be slightly more legible, maybe, is IH minus IS. All right, so that's what a partial insurance contract looks like, right? So the payout is less than the difference between your income in the sick and the healthy state.